funding, scaling, growth, and exits, right? Strategies based on my experience. I am a startup founder myself. I am an angel investor. I'm a startup funding advisor, so on and so forth. But anyway, this week, the theme has been talking about startups solving real problems with real solutions for real customers and so on and so forth, right? So the last couple of days, this is what I've been talking about. And today we are looking at a same problem from a different angle, how to solve real customer problems. So today is all about looking at real customer problems and how do we solve them. Okay, so let's get into it. Solving real customer problems is the key to startup success. Of course, you know that, right? I mean, come on, this is basic. Or is it? If you look at the hundreds of startups that pop up every single week all over the world, you can bet that, and I've seen this is through experience because I got a lot of pitch decks come across my desk because I represent a set of family offices and angel investors, a syndicate, and I facilitate funding. I advise startups on how to get funding and blah, blah, blah. So I've got a lot of experience in this. And trust me when I say over 70%, probably 75% of the startups that come about don't really solve real problems, right? Okay, so today we discuss why startups should prioritize solving real customer problems and how they can do it effectively. We'll also cover how this approach can help them raise pre-seed or seed funding, because a lot of startups don't get funding even if they have a polished pitch and great charismatic founders and all that. Is because, like I always say, investors are not fools, right? And when they look at a solution to a problem, they usually know and they can usually identify whether it's a real problem, what's a real solution, whether it'll make some money down the line. So, understanding the problem. Startups need to understand the real problem they're trying to solve for their customers. It is essential to define the problem in detail and identify who the customers are that are facing this problem. Because look, these are all interconnected kind of links, right? So you've got a set of people with a problem that there is a potential for a solution that they pay for, right? So it's a triangle. You need the right kind of people with a right kind of problem that you can solve that they will pay for. If you don't have the right kind of people, you don't have the right kind of problem, and you're not going to make any money. So it all depends on the right kind of people. So identifying them, that is important. And then understanding them and their problems, the right kind of problem, is critical. By understanding the problem, startups can create a more effective solution that meets the customer needs. Therefore, they will have a lot of people buying from them. Therefore, revenue, profitability, growth, scaling, exit, unicorn, right? Okay. Importance of solving real customer problems. Solving real customer problems helps startup to create a product or service that people will want and are willing to pay for. So yeah, I know this is a simple topic. Listen, founders, this is a simple topic. And I will keep repeating these things because these things need to be repeated and you need to place them in context. Yes, you know these things, but the reason I actually take each of these points and emphasize is because these need to be drilled into your brain. This needs to become second nature. As a startup founder, this is like second nature. It has to become second nature, right? It creates a competitive advantage in the market as startups are addressing real needs and pain points of their customers. Okay, so let's say you are in your market segment. You have a lot of competitors. If you look at those competitors from the angle that are they really solving the right kind of problem? Do they have the right solution? That is where idea validation happens. If there is one startup, one competitor that is solving the right problem with the right solution for the right kind of people, do you know what? yeah, you got to think really hard whether you really want to move ahead with the current kind of idea that you have, right? I'm not saying give up, but I'm saying that it'll be very hard to take market share, mind share away from a company, a business that is providing the right solution to the right problem to the right people. So maybe you need to pivot. Maybe you'll find a gap within that. But you know what? This the kind of analysis that's important. Yeah, you know why? Because if you're not solving the right problem, you're gonna have churn. You're not gonna have loyal customers. And a lot of companies that like bright stars, they blow up and they're viral, there's all over the place, and then a couple of months later, they're struggling, or sometimes they just burn up and they go bankrupt. They shut their doors. It's because they didn't start out by solving real problems, the right problems. Yeah, that is critical. And yeah, you know what this proves? The startup graveyard is full of startups that died because they were not solving the right problems. So what's happening there then? They get funded. The founders are pretty smart people. No one points this out. Why is that? Because you know what? It's not as easy as you think. It sounds like an obvious thing, but identifying whether you're solving a right problem with the right solution for the right customers is not easy. Trust me, I've been doing this for 28 years, right? My own startups. I've had a string of failures. I've had a string of successes, huge 7+ figure exits. Trust me, it is not easy. The lean startup approach. The lean startup approach is a methodology that focuses on solving real customer problems. It involves creating an MVP and then testing it with customers to see if it solves their problems. By using this approach, startups can save time and money by only building what customers need and want. That's because, yeah, the lean approach is nothing new. It's not groundbreaking. You probably know about it already, right? But you need to apply. Look, there is a saying in the old Hindu Vedic tradition. There is this concept called dharma, right? It's you cannot really translate that directly into English, but the overall concept is one of duty, right? Because at the end of the day, if you understand duty and you do your duty, that's it. The world is a better place. But anyway, now the concept of duty, the dharma, these things. The reason I bring it up is testing, right? So that there is a framework called the lean approach. But just like with the dharma, with the Vedic thing, knowing dharma is not enough, right? Look, you may read 100 books on dharma and about the importance of duty, the importance of doing your duty. Because, for example, as a father, you have the duties change, the dharma changes, right? It's fluid. As a father, you have certain duties. But at the same time, as a son or a daughter, you have other duties to your parents. As a husband or wife, you see what I'm saying? As an entrepreneur, as a founder, look, knowing about all these things doesn't matter if you don't apply them, if you don't do them. The same with these basic principles. Knowing that you need to, it's surprising because sometimes I get on board a startup because it's struggling, it's having some problems, to identify the bottlenecks to try and solve them. And a lot of those problems stem from this idea of over bloating the initial product, right? Because a lot of founders have this idea that it needs to be perfect, it needs to be robust, it needs to have all these bells and whistles before it goes into the market. Otherwise, people won't like it. But they end up spending a ton of money, a ton of time and resources. And then when you get to that stage, because an MVP is for idea validation, it is. They reach that time, they've already sunk in so much, they continue with it because of the sunk costs, and ultimately they lose out. So use the lean method, right? Research it, learn about it, I'm not going to go into too much detail because it is quite an obvious thing, but it is about applying it. It's about implementing it, right? So do not bloat your MVP. Be very agile, very lean. Customer discovery. Customer discovery is a critical part of solving real customer problems. It goes back to the fundamentals. It involves talking to potential customers to understand their problems, needs, and desires. Very important, right? It's not just about demographics, it's about psychographics. And tomorrow, in tomorrow's episode, I'm going to talk about how to use archetypes and how to build your customer persona, all that. Through customer discovery, startups can gather valuable feedback that can help them refine their product or service to better meet customer needs. Why? Because solving real customer problems is what makes your startup a success. It makes it a profitable business, right? It can scale, grow, and so on. So customer discovery, very, very important. Design thinking is something else that will help you with this. It's a problem-solving approach that focuses on understanding the user's needs and wants. Everything is centered around the user's needs and wants. If you understand that, you will have cracked the code. But then, prior to that, you need to make sure you are looking at the right users, right? So design thinking is all about, it focuses on user needs and wants. Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. Really, trust me, nothing else matters. Not even the trends. There could be a great trend out there right now. AI, there's a great trend. But if you don't pay attention to the users that you choose, the target audience that you want to help solve a problem, if you don't look at their real needs and their wants and their behaviors, you're going to fail. So the trend doesn't really matter because trends change. That's what it is. That's why it's called a trend. And therefore, if you were trying to jump on a bandwagon and the trend is already at the end of it, you're going to be holding the bag. It involves empathizing with the user, defining the problem, ideating solutions, prototyping, MVP, and testing with users. Critical pillars. So, empathizing with the user, defining the problem. Is it the right problem? What is the problem, right? Are we thinking that this is a problem, or is it really a problem? Do the stakeholders, the people who really we're trying to solve the problem for, do they think this is a problem at all? And then ideating solutions. Of course, when you ideate a solution, you need to validate that. And we spoke about that yesterday, day before. Prototyping, the MVP, the minimum viable product or service, and then testing with users. These are the things. By using design thinking, startups can create solutions that are user-centric and solve real customer problems. So let's conclude this. Solving real customer problems is the key to startup success. Nothing else, not even funding. Real customer problems is that. And investors look to startups that solve real customer problems. I've always invested in startups that solve real customer problems. And the ones that failed were because, yes, I missed the beat back in the day, a few years ago. And, by understanding the problem, using the lean startup approach, conducting customer discovery, using design thinking, and creating solutions that are user-centric, startups can create a competitive advantage in the market and attract funding. There is nothing else that you want to pay attention to, especially even if you're already out there and you have an MVP and you got some users. Look, go back, think through, try and figure out, understand. Okay, this is critical. The question is, are you solving the real problems for real customers, right? Okay, tomorrow we will look at the final component of this theme in this week. That is, who are these real people, right? How do you identify the real people that have real problems that you can solve really, right? That's what's up tomorrow. So don't miss tomorrow's episode. I'll see you there. But before that, if you have any questions, just hit me up on LinkedIn, send me a DM, or on Twitter, and I will try to give you my 2 cents. Till tomorrow's show, Take care, go forth and prosper.